Spider-Man is one of my favorite superheroes, hands down. Most of his iterations are fantastic, a lot of his stories are great, but there is one version of the character that I and a lot of people have had mixed feelings about in the past. I have opinions about MCU Spider-Man. No, I don't think Homecoming and Far From Home are good movies, but bad Spider-Man movies. I don't agree with that at all. I've kind of struggled with seeing this character as Spider-Man. I know that sounds weird, but given the fact that a lot of the fundamentals of the character were just kind of missing to me, like the lack of consequences, not even referring to any money problems, no Uncle Ben, no with great power comes great responsibility, the over-reliance on Tony Stark and other heroes, I just didn't really connect with any of that. That's not to say that I think this character himself is bad. I just really couldn't see him as Spider-Man. He just felt more like a side character with Tony Stark than anything else. I just didn't understand where they were going with him. But since No Way Home released, it pretty much changed almost everything about him and made him into a version of the character that I actually really like now. And for the record, I really do like Homecoming. I think it's one of the better Spider-Man movies, and Far From Home was just kind of okay. I didn't really like it that much, but that's just me. But after I watched Far From Home for the first time, I kind of really stopped liking this version of the character. So when No Way Home was announced, I had pretty subpar expectations for that movie. Obviously, I was proven wrong, but that was a thing that happened. I think, to put it in short terms, I really loved the movie. I loved all the villains. Willem Dafoe and Alfred Molina absolutely killed it. Tom Holland's performance was great. Seeing the two Spider-Men was fucking amazing. I will never forget the look in my eyes when I saw Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man come out of that portal. That was one thing, right? But then when Tobey Maguire stepped out of his portal, I freaked out. It was insane. I could not believe my eyes. My childhood just came right back to me, and I could not get enough of their interactions. Seeing them learn to work together to go up against the villains, and them talking about their own villains and different experiences they've had as Spider-Man. And when Tobey stops Tom from killing the Green Goblin, the look in his eyes, that's how you do visual storytelling. I fucking loved every second of the 3 Spider-Men in this movie. It was so good. And man, that ending too for the movie, I thought it was so perfect. I'm getting ahead of myself. There are some other things that I appreciate about this movie that I want to talk about first. One thing I appreciated was letting Aunt May have more of an important role in this movie compared to the others, and I thought that was a smart move. Throughout the movie, she teaches Peter to be more empathetic, and that if you have an opportunity to help people, you should. You shouldn't just say things like,
"This isn't my problem."
You know, it's funny. She's the one that teaches Peter to be more empathetic. She's the one that gives him the "with great power comes great responsibility" line. It's almost like she is the Uncle Ben for this Peter. Huh. You see, I always thought Uncle Ben existed in Peter's life and in this universe, and while there's definitely evidence of him existing, it's implied that Aunt May was probably a single mom and that Uncle Ben was really never in Peter's life. I just find it to be really interesting that that's what they would go for, so I just think that's cool. And like with Uncle Ben and other universes, Aunt May's death affects Peter heavily. The lesson that she tried to teach him hasn't really kicked in yet, so he's still very vengeful and angry to the person that killed her. So now this Peter is finally going through what the other Spider-Men have gone through in the past, and he's finally growing up now. It's interesting that it took 3 movies to give this Peter his real origin story. It's pretty different, but this is already a wildly different take on the character, so I guess it's pretty on brand. And I was already surprised about all of that, right? The fact that the movie did so much to reverse the issues that quite a few people had with the character, but I really wasn't expecting it all to end the way it did. Peter has Doctor Strange cast a spell to make everyone forget who Peter Parker is in order to save the multiverse and prevent them from colliding with each other. Peter making a great sacrifice to save people is one of the most Spider-Man-esque things that you can make him do, and that's amazing. It's like one more day if it was good. Being Spider-Man requires so much sacrifice, and it's always been that way no matter the interpretation. Something that always made this character appealing is that no matter what happens to him, he still chooses to be Spider-Man. That happens here too. Even though no one remembers him, even though Peter Parker just straight up doesn't exist anymore, he still chooses to keep his head up and move forward, to be the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. That's why this character is so loved. And man, the final few scenes of this movie is so good. I have to talk about why this ending works so much. Every scene is so well acted, so well done. Okay. Seeing Peter practice what he's going to say to MJ and Ned to make them remember who he is kind of cute and pretty in character for Peter. When he goes to the coffee shop, you can feel how badly he wants to tell them about their memories, but when he has the opportunity...
Hi, my name is Peter Parker, and I would like a coffee, please.
He attempts to do it again multiple times, but seeing how happy they are about getting into MIT makes Peter realize that he should probably just leave it alone. This movie shows how good of an actor Tom Holland is. You can see it in his eyes, how hurt he is when talking to MJ, knowing that she doesn't remember him. His demeanor shows how badly he wants this, but he knows that he can't have it. That's some good acting. So instead of going through with it, he just leaves with a smile. God damn, this scene is heartbreaking to rewatch. Fuck. I love the exchange Peter and Happy have at the graveyard, talking about May and what she stood for.
It hurts because they're gone, and then it hurts all over again because you remember what they stood for, and you wonder, is all that gone too?
No, it's not gone. Everyone that she helped, he'll keep it going.
You really think so?
I know it.
Again, really heartbreaking to rewatch. And out of all of these scenes, the apartment one has to be my favorite. It's really simple, but I just think it's really effective. The moment I saw him open that door, I was speechless in the theater. I could barely believe what I was seeing. The look on his face, showing how, despite his situation, he chooses to stay positive, knowing the responsibility he holds. Unpacking all his stuff, listening to police comms, and getting out there to be a hero. It's so good. Why did it take this long, Kevin? I'm looking at you specifically. I know you and Marvel wanted to do something different. I'm not necessarily complaining, but I am complaining. Why did it take 3 movies for me to actually feel like that this is fucking Spider-Man again? That final swing too, man, it feels so earned. Peter gets a sick new suit that's very classic, swinging in the snow with an amazing orchestral score behind it. It is a godsend compared to the final swing in Far From Home, where that felt very forced. And man, I cannot wait to see that suit in future movies. This ending felt so perfect for this movie. The emotion, the acting, the writing, I was in genuine awe in the theater. It didn't feel real. All I could think was, oh my god, they did it. They did what I wanted for so long. It's finally here. Peter is so much closer to the traditional Spider-Man that makes him special. I've wanted this since 2016. To me, the problems I originally had with this character wasn't the comic accuracy. That's a stupid argument. I hate that. It was the fact that a lot of the fundamentals weren't there. Homecoming only felt like a real Spider-Man story in the 3rd act. And again, Far From Home was fine. It just felt like the directors focused way too hard on the teen comedy aspect. I'm not saying that every Spider-Man story has to be depressing, but you have to have that perfect balance of sincerity and just realness to it. What makes Spider-Man interesting as a character is the struggle of the balance between the hero and the person. So having the protagonist question whether or not they want to just be themselves or just be the hero or try to balance that in any way, that's what makes Spider-Man interesting, the human aspect, the struggle of balancing our lives. It's relatable. So to really drive the point home, when you see Peter open his apartment door for the first time, I got really happy because they finally brought those elements back. I'm really excited to see how they implement this character in the MCU in the future. This movie really changed my views on the character, and again, I'm really excited to see what they do with him in the future. Now, all we know is that the filmmakers are open to the idea of making more Spider-Man movies, but only time will tell. But until then, this trilogy ended with a bang, and that makes me happy. Sure, all of the leaks were kind of annoying, but I'm still totally fine with what we got, and the fact that Marvel decided to take a risk with this movie, I thought it totally paid off, especially financially. Even with all of this movie's problems, like the weird CGI and the mostly bland cinematography, except for the apartment scene, I really still love this movie. And I'm just happy that they brought back all of the fundamentals that makes this character special, so I'll take what I can get. It really feels good to be a Spider-Man fan right now. This movie was great. I'm really excited for Insomniac's Spider-Man 2 and Across the Spider-Verse, even though the first part's being delayed to 2048. Still excited though.